Ladies and gentlemen, Thursday's ESG week session is about to begin. I'd like to introduce your host. He's small, he's lively, you couldn't take a breath between sentences without him. The Orange Dot!
Thank you, and welcome to Thursday of ESG week. You heard me correctly, ESG week. Every single day this week at lunchtime, 12 PM, we're coming at you live to talk about different solutions that you can use for your ESG reporting and ESG data. Let's see what ESGenius is going to be assisting me today. Today, Matt Hayes from Cyferd will be presenting for us. Matt Hayes is the Senior VP of AI and Neurogenesis at Cyferd, and Matt's going to be telling us all about the simplicity of Cyferd-Qlik integration. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Matt Hayes!
Hello, my name's Matt Hayes. I'm the Senior Vice President of AI and Neurogenesis at Cyferd. Today's session, I'm going to take you through the simplicity of Qlik and Cyferd integration. So my agenda is very, very complicated. I apologise for all these bullet points in advance. Okay, not that complicated. I was going to try and pad this out and make it sound far more complicated than it is, but essentially all we're going to do is build a Qlik app or a Qlik dashboard with data that we're retrieving via the Cyferd REST API. So we're using Qlik here as an example. We can connect to any sort of external BI visualization technology, or in fact any other application platform or any other system. The Cyferd platform, we have REST APIs that can do pretty much anything. So if you want to push data into the platform, if you want to pull data out of the platform, if you want to execute a flow in the platform, all of that's available. Essentially, you need to have an API token to be able to do that. So it's secured in that way. And that API token is linked to a user. So then we apply permissions based on that user. So it's not completely open to the world. But we do allow you to then connect to other systems using our REST API. So that's about it for my slides. Let's get on to the main event. So I'm not going to go into the ESG app in any detail particularly. Neil has done a really great session on this, so check that out. But essentially what we're going to do today is we're going to pull these KPI values from the ESG application, and we're going to pull them into QlikSense using that REST API. So we can see here we've got all these we've got a dashboard in the Cyferd platform of all the different KPIs. I'm just going to show you as an example how we can take that, put it into an app. So first things first, let's go across to Qlik Cloud, and we're going to create a new application. If you're not using Qlik, if you're using another tool, that's fine. You should still be able to generally follow along with what I'm doing here. So what we're going to do is going to create a ESG demo app, and I will create that. Here we go. So once that opens up, we'll go into the data load editor. I'm going to create a new section. I'm going to call this ESG. So now on the right hand side, I need to create a new connection so I can connect to the Cyferd REST API. So I'll click create new connection, and then I'm just going to type in here REST, and it will show me the REST connector in Qlik. So I'll click that. Now we've got a few things to just configure. It's quite lightweight. I type in the URL for my Cyferd tenant. So I'm using demo.cyferd.cloud. Then we do /API to access our APIs. And I want to run a flow. So I'm just going to do /run. If I wanted to access data directly, I could paste in the data. Well, I could type data / the collection ID. But I'm going to run a flow today. Because we're running a flow, we need to provide it with an input. So I'll say I want to do a post, which means that the REST API will post information to the Cyferd REST API rather than just trying to retrieve something with a query with everything in the URL. So this request body, I've created a nice flow in the Cyferd platform here. And all I need to do is select a collection I'm interested in, which is ESG KPI. It's this one, the VO2. I can optionally provide a Cyferd filter if I want to, like restrict it to a certain year, but I just want to pull back everything for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this output here, and I'm going to copy that and go back into the ESG demo now and paste that in here. So that basically tells the Cyferd API everything it needs to know to execute that flow for me. And when it executes that flow, it's going to retrieve my collection, my ESG KPI collection, and it's just going to format it a little bit nicer. That's what my flow is doing. So it's going to get rid of some of the fields that I'm not interested in, and it's going to replace all of the IDs with the names of the columns instead. So other things we need to do, we need to authenticate this. So in our query headers, we need to provide, let me just make sure I'm typing this correctly, an authorization query header. And this is going to be a bearer token. So I'll type bearer, and then I need to get an API token from the Cyferd platform. So again, I'll nip back in Cyferd, and I have this API token that's available as a collection in Cyferd. It's a system collection. And I've already created one for the Qlik REST API. So what I'll do here is just grab this token, copy that, and head back into the ESG demo app and paste that in here. I can encrypt this so that it isn't accessible when other people try and access this connection in the future, but for the demo's sake, I'll just leave that. And then we also need to provide, so the REST API, so Qlik knows what the structure of the data is going to be. We need to tell it that it's going to be a JSON. So this is just REST API wiring up. So it's an application JSON content type. Then let's give it a more sensible name. So we'll say REST Cyferd ESG, and we'll test that connection. There we go, connection succeeded. So let's create that. So now we can use this REST API to extract the data from Cyferd. It's that straightforward. Okay, so in Qlik, we've now got the connection on the side. All we need to do is click this select data button here. And what it's going to do now is it's going to query that API and pull me back the structure of the data as well as some sample records. Okay, there we go. And in here, I just want this output. Perfect. So here's all the KPI data. It's retrieved the ID, updated that, etc. I'm not that interested in these things, so I'm just going to untick those. I'll keep the ID because that's a primary key. It's a unique identifier. And then here's all the data that I'm going to be retrieving. So the current value, units, measurement date, name of the KPI, that will be interesting, and the area. We've got lots of information here. So I could use stuff like the status to identify a color that I want to make it. Excellent, so we'll insert that script. And there we go, ready to go. So all I need to do now is just load the data. So it's going to go off now, it's going to speak to the Cyferd API. It's going to extract that information. There we go, nice and quick. It's just 8 seconds, and it's fetched me 48 lines, or 49 lines maybe. No, 48 lines. One of those was just a weird REST API one. So there we go. So now we've got the data in our platform. So actually, if I go into the data model viewer in Cyferd, I can see here that we've got this output table, which I might want to rename. And if I preview that, here's all that data that we saw before. So let's do something with it. Let's go into our sheet. And we're sort of finished with the Cyferd side of this now. This is more of a Qlik demo, which I haven't used Qlik in a while, but I do know in Cloud I want to click Advanced Options because that looks more like I remember it. So now we can just start building up our dashboard here. So let's say, first of all, I want a filter pane at the top. Not that big. And in there, let's add some data. So here now I've got all my data that was being pulled from the Cyferd API. So for example, I want name as one of the bits. I also want, so that's the KPI name. There's one called ESG area, so we'll have that in there too. I think there is a year, so plan year. I'll use that as a filter. And then let's, what we'll do is we'll add a table so we can just visualize the data straight away. So our dimension in the table will be name, so the KPI name. If I'll do the same thing here, we'll have area as well. I'll pop that above it. And then we'll also have a value for current value. Sure, make that a sum, although I think there's only one. We'll get another one for target value. Make that a sum. And there's other things in here like units, for example, that we could pull through. And we could use that to then format this data in Qlik. But this isn't really supposed to be a Qlik demo. So there we've got some data that's being pulled through. If I go in here, I can pick an ESG area, governance, my data filters. I can pick the name of a few metrics I'm interested in, and it filters. And I can just make sure that I'm getting just the relevant year. There we go. So that was pulling me back data for 2020 as well. So that's nice. Let's also then add some other bits in here. Also, this really upsets me. Let's actually put some labels here. So current year. And this one will be target value. Well, I'll just call it target. Brilliant. Let's add a KPI. And this will be, I think we have a progress. Excellent. So we've already worked this out in the Cyferd side. So I can just say, what's the average progress? And that's a percentage. So across all of our different KPIs, what's the sort of current value versus the baseline? Well, current value versus the baseline versus the target versus the baseline. So we'll set that to a number. We'll make that a percentage. So 22.5%. We'll call that average progress. Excellent. This is all coming together nicely. Let's add a bar chart in because we can. Let's just make this a bit smaller, especially such a small table. This is going to look horrendous, I think. It's not my finest work. My dimension here, let's do name. And again, let's maybe put the progress in here as well. The average progress. Oh, and I've only got 2 KPIs selected at the moment, so let me just get rid of that. So those are the governance KPIs, and then if I get rid of that, those are all the KPIs. Again, we probably want to tidy this up, so let's give this a better label. Average progress, and that should be a percentage. Very nice. And what we could do then is we could change the colors. We could change it to be an expression that uses the status, so whether it's a warning or success, etc. I'm just going to do it by dimension because I love how colourful it goes. And let's turn the legend off. Lovely, look at that. And let's also add some labels on here as well. There we go, so we can see our data a bit better. So here are all of our different KPIs ordered by which one's the most successful so far. We could also change the sort order. We could change it by name. We could add another dimension in here for the sort order that we're being pulled from Cyferd, but we'll keep it like that for now. I can't decide how I want to best visualize this data. You can go up there for now. Let's make you really big. Not a very good lesson in Qlik dashboarding. That looks awful. Anyway, let's have another sheet now. Let's add a new sheet. I don't care what it's called, just give it me. There we go. And let's do something a bit more interesting. So we'll create a scatter plot. Do you like a nice scatter plot? So for our bubble, we'll add the name of the KPI. So each bubble in our scatter plot will be one of these KPIs. And then what we'll do is the current year attainment versus the target attainment. And we can see how well we're actually performing. So what I'm going to do is going to put a formula in here, and I will say, give me the average, thank you, so current value divided by the average, I think there's a 2020 baseline, yep. So that's our current attainment. So current progress. And then our y-axis will do the same thing, but the other way around. So average target value divided by average 2020 baseline. And let's call that one target process. Excellent. So now we can do other things. We can add some add-ons. We can put some regression lines on here, sort of see where we're generally falling. But we can see here the target progress for something like improved business resilience. What we really want is everything to be on a straight line here. But we can see that we've actually got a lot which are down underneath the sort of like straight line across the straight diagonal line. So we can see that a lot of our data is actually under target. So something like this one, for example. Actually, no, these are going quite well. I don't know. I'm not very good at analysing data here. It clearly shows. Is that we're supposed to be at 10%, but we're actually at... I may need to divide this by 100. Anyway, you get the idea. We can do nice scatter plots with this data. We can put bar charts together. We can throw KPIs together. And we could even use something like a trellis. So we could use trellis, and then we could actually construct all of those KPIs from the Cyferd side. So we could actually replicate this whole view in Qlik, but that feels quite pointless. So there we go, very quick and straightforward demo. The Qlik side, do whatever you want. The Cyferd side, just to go over that again, we create a connection to the REST using a REST connector in Cyferd. We connect to the tenant that we're interested in. So demo in this instance, it would be whatever tenant you're on. You connect to our API, you paste that in from the Cyferd platform. You make sure that you're passing in a bearer token, an API token, so that you can talk to our API and tell it that the content type is application JSON. And then there you go, you can start pulling the data straight out of the platform. And we can then use that with any data from the platform. So for example, if I then take this and let's look at something else. So if we look at, I've got some training data sets here. So we've got some service desk jobs. I could take that data now. I could change this to now pull this data instead. This will obviously break my app. I'm just giving you an example. And now when I select the data, here we go. The output data will now show me service desk jobs instead. So you can see all the different statuses of my service desk jobs, etc. priority. So really easy to do. If you've got any questions, feel free to post them in the chat and we'll try to respond. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day.
A big round of applause for Matt Hayes! Well, who would have thought it would have been that simple for a Cyferd-Qlik integration? An important part of ESG is the E for environmental. A great way to help the environment is to use less paper. And a great way to cut down on paper is by using electronic signatures instead of signing paper documents. Now, Dropbox have a solution that can allow you to do just that, and in a much more efficient way than by signing paper. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Dropbox!
The way we sign documents today is outdated, slow, and riddled with poor user experiences. Legacy e-signature companies force onerous contracts, holding your business hostage. Say hello to HelloSign, effortless e-signature trusted by millions. Sign from anywhere, on any desktop or mobile device, keeping your business contracts moving, no matter where you are. Send as many signatures as you need, with a transparent, upfront price and no hidden fees. HelloSign is the easiest way for Salesforce users to send agreements out for signature. Send from any object in Salesforce with our out-of-the-box integration. No code required. Stay on top of your business by creating native Salesforce reports, dashboards, and automations around your e-signature data. Or integrate your workflow or product with our easy-to-use API, made by developers for developers. With our clean documentation, developers can bring e-signature into their application in days, not months, and deliver a seamless, custom-branded experience completely within your application. Say hello to HelloSign and start signing from anywhere today.
HelloSign for Salesforce will help you to create, send, track, e-sign and save contracts and agreements, all without leaving Salesforce. The administrators can configure the e-signature requests from any object within Salesforce, making it more efficient to send documents and shortening the time to close the deal. So let me show you how that works. So in this case, if I go into my opportunities, I will just load one that I have here. And then, if you can see, we have the use hello sign button here. So if for some reason I need to send, from this exact opportunity a request, then I will be able to do so. And the end result will be also stored within the opportunity. So I will have everything within Salesforce and in the right object without the need to go in outside and leaving the application. So in this case, if we say we use hello sign, we'll load. We have different options. We would be able to use a template. We can create one, and then we can also send a one-time document. So in this case, it's a one-off type of document. So we're gonna click on Start. Once we have it loaded, basically we're gonna define if we need to browse to add a different file, or we can select files that are already on the record. So in this case, we have this NDA that I want to send for signature, and once I have it ready, I will click on Next. And then I have the ability to define if there are more than one signer, if they want to sign in the same in a specific order, or if this is not needed. So if I need to enforce a sequence in the signing process, I can do so by ticking this box. And I also have the ability to enable the signer reassignment. That basically will allow the person that receives the signer request to delegate if they are not the right person. They will need to enter the email of the person that they need to sign it for, and also reason for the reassignment. So in this case, I want to enable to show you how would that work. And then I can select, what is the recipient, who's going to be the person receiving this. In this case, what is the action that they need to do, if it's signing the actual document or receiving a copy, if you want to have somebody on CC and then be notified of the signature process. Then we can also request, files. We can request an attachment. So in this case, we can say, passport copy. And then if I say, please add copy. And then also have the ability to make it required or not, depending on the use case. In some cases, you can say it's optional or not. So you have the ability to define that as well. In this case, we'll leave it that it's optional. Then we'll click on Done. And then if we need to add more recipients, then we can do so by adding more extra recipients. So once we're ready, we click on Next. We will give it a title. So say test hello sign for Salesforce. Then we'll give a message. Please sign document. And then we can now proceed to prepare the document. So we will be able now to add the different fields that we need to enter on that particular document, and then by dragging and dropping. Here you can see, that this is the person that we're sending to. In the case that there are more than one person signing, there will be color code. And then every time I change person, the color will change. So then I can keep track of who has to do what. So in this case, as you can see, the most important will be the signature field. We can add several. It doesn't have to be only one signature field. And we also have the ability to insert everywhere the signature. So you have a long document where the customer needs to sign several times. You only need to actually do it once, and then we will take care of that and then copy that signature across all the signature fields that are assigned to that person. So then we also have the ability to add dates. This will be pre-populated, so you don't need to do anything. They will be automatically added. And then say, for example, if we need to add, different text boxes, we can also do so. We can also add checkboxes. We can also create rules. In this case, let me show you how it works. In this case, this checkbox, if we have it enabled, then we will show the following fields. So that means that if I click on this checkbox, automatically this one will show. If I don't click, then I will not see it. So once we are happy with this, we click on Done. And then we have everything ready. Say, for example, I want to also enter the full name, the email, for example. So we can define. As you can see, we also have the ability to define, what is the actual font, even the size of the font. So if I click it, so it will make it automatically scale it, to be longer. So then we also have the ability, as you can see, to put some basic formatting. So if we have, for example, another field here with the full name, so we also have this formatting where we'll be aligning, and then we have the possibility to have everything neatly organized. So once we're ready, happy with this, we send it for signature, and then the request has been sent. So if I go into my email now, if I go into my hello sign, I see that I have received the email with the request. So all I need to do is a customer review and sign. Obviously, I will not need an account, a HelloSign account. This is done without getting into any accounts of any sort, because this is the test mode. We know that this is a mock signature and it's not therefore legally binding. So we click on OK. I click to sign. And then we click here, and then as you can see, we can insert everywhere. So automatically you will have everything, because all the fields nowhere marked as required. I only have to sign this one, for example. But if I go down, these ones have been automatically filled because they are including my name that I've sent, my email address, so I didn't need to do anything on this one. And then here, as part of the logic, as you can see, once I mark that checkbox, then I also have to put some information here. So then now I have completed all the fields that have been assigned to me, and then just need to click on continue. I will need to upload the passport copy if it was required, but in this case, because it wasn't required, then I can click next. I won't be uploading anything. We agree to the terms and conditions, and then that's it. We have submitted the document, so we have signed the document. So if I go back to my opportunity, let me refresh. Then on the files, you should be able to see this one. It's been attached, and then I know with the date of today, and then if I click on the document, I will be able to preview the document. And then after checking that preview of the actual document that we sent, we see that here we have another one that is a PDF, and that is called the same name that we gave it during the process, but then it says signed, so we know that has been signed. So if I click here, we will preview it, and now they will see that it was the same document, but it has, the signature. It has all the information that we enter, checkbox, and all this other information. So that is basically how we would, let me stop here. So this is basically how we would, send this document. And obviously we can do the same for any object within Salesforce, but by default, we can do it for opportunity, contact, lead, and accounts. So we will be able to add any other custom objects, even to be able to send hello sign for that specific object.
Well, that was Dropbox Sign, everyone, so hopefully you won't be buried by paper anymore. And if you're hungry for even more ESG goodness, make sure you come back tomorrow for Martin Kostick from Infinity's presentation. If you'd like to learn more about ESG, please head over to www.differentia.consulting, or you can write a message to me directly by sending an email to marketing@differentia.consulting. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, but in the meantime, take it ESGzy. Bye for now.